Hi everybody, I'm Brandon Jones, the very sleep-deprived voice of GameTrailers. Very excited during E3. Thank you for joining me for a special episode of Trailer Academy, where I'm going to focus specifically on all the E3 2013 trailers. The good ones, the bad ones, and the ones that were just kind of so-so. So before I get into specific trailers, I want to talk a little bit about the show as a whole. It's really interesting. There were lots of trailers that suggested a game people weren't really sure about until it got into specifics. Stuff like Halo, we didn't know it was Halo until it was revealed. Battlefront, we didn't know what it was until the snowspeeder came crashing down and the AT-AT that came up to crush the camera. Garden Warfare was a really great twist with us thinking it was Battlefield 4. So there's a lot of playing on expectations, and that was really fun. One thing that I'm sure this has been happening for a really long time, but I didn't really notice specifically until this E3, is there was a lot of trailers using footage that had already been revealed in a gameplay video. And I think a classic example of this was Call of Duty when they revealed it during the Xbox One unveiling, where they showed this documentary first, and that documentary showed a lot of clips along with shots of the guys making the game. And we had already seen footage that was then shown in a trailer later, so by the time we saw it in the final trailer, it kind of lost its importance because we'd already seen it. And so I noticed there was a lot of gameplay edits where the footage I was looking at was the footage that I had already seen in a demo, and I thought that was kind of poorly timed. I think, like, do the trailer first, show me all this stuff in really little tiny increments where you can really tease the end of each of these situations, and then later on show the full gameplay thing so I can see, really get more subtext on what was going on. Like the Destiny trailer is just weird, seeing this huge long gameplay demo of Jason Jones, going through the game, and then later on we saw a trailer that was just all that footage recut, and it just kind of, made the trailer a little less impactful. So that's the show as a whole. Let's get into each specific trailer, and let's start with ones that I didn't necessarily think were good or bad, just kind of in the middle. So surprisingly, the Assassin's Creed Black Flag trailer was not really that great. Assassin's Creed usually kills it whenever they go to E3. They do a really cool cinematic trailer. The cinematic trailer they did was beautiful, but it wasn't that exciting. Again, something that was kind of cut down a peg or two by some of the footage we'd already seen. We've seen a lot of really cool stuff for Assassin's Creed 4, and then the CG trailer, it was just kind of like a bar fight and then two ships that were attacking each other, which was basically the scene that was already presented in the very first trailer for Assassin's Creed 4. So it's kind of underwhelming, and I think the GT staff thought that universally that wasn't that exciting of a trailer.
This city has a problem.
Batman Arkham Origins, which I hate to say because I'm a huge fan of that franchise, also kind of suffered from not being exciting because we'd already seen some of this stuff. Like, we knew Black Mask was the villain. They only really unveiled Bane this time around, and the gameplay was the same gameplay that's being shown in the demo at the show, so all the edits aren't that exciting because you know exactly what he's going to do because you've already seen the demo before. So that gameplay trailer, a little underwhelming.
Nice of you to drop in.
An unusual hiding place for the Prince of Darkness.
Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2 was a pretty cool trailer. I like Patrick Stewart returning. Good voiceover, cool gameplay again, stuff we had seen in another video. But I like the tone, I like the music in the beginning. It's one track that runs through the whole thing, which can be kind of repetitive sometimes, but I like that music track. But again, something that didn't really wind up in the top or bottom. I got a lot of tweets about the infamous Second Son trailer, which I went back and rewatched to consider for a strong thumbs up or thumbs down. And it's a pretty cool trailer. I like the finale of it with him doing a backflip and then pile driving with a huge explosion. But I just kept thinking when I was watching the trailer that they don't really establish what's going on as far as the antagonist in the game. Like, we see that his brother's in law enforcement somehow, and he has to keep arresting him, and so there's that turmoil going on between the brothers. But then he goes to Seattle and then just starts killing cops. Like, I don't really know what's going on. The first teaser that they showed had a female villain that was behind kind of a control desk with all these cameras, and I thought we'd be seeing a little more of her. But plot-wise, I was kind of disappointed in that trailer. So that brought it around the B level.
We go where we want, as fast as we want. We're the law. You can't catch devils with angels.
Need for Speed Rivals was pretty exciting. Usually Need for Speed brings some pretty cool trailers. Remember Hot Pursuit had a really great E3 trailer, but a little too much voiceover in this trailer. Got a little too crazy and crossing over each other in the end. Would have been nice to maybe focus a little bit more on just the racing footage, or I don't know, have a little more context to what was going on. A little too cheesy, but still an exciting trailer.
You are our target.
I should have been here. They're going to call us marauders, terrorists.
And Titanfall, unfortunately, even though the game had a really great showing, the actual trailer, and this is a substantial difference between gameplay and trailer. A lot of clips we have on the site are just gameplay, where trailers specifically, you know, you have the titles, voiceover, ESRB logo at the end, game logo, I'm sorry, ESRB at the beginning, game logo at the end. And so trailers are different than gameplay, and the trailer for Titanfall was a little weird. Like, it started with the guy over a grave who was talking to someone who was either like a soldier buddy of his, maybe a dead wife, kind of setting up the post-apocalyptic angle, and then when they got into Titans, the story pretty much evaporated. And so Titanfall as a game looks really, really exciting, but the trailer was a little weird. I thought that specific edit, instead of just showing guys running around blowing each other up, which the gameplay did, it could have established maybe a little bit more story. But Titanfall still looks amazing, so I would not consider that a bad trailer by any means.
Time to emerge from the shadows as finally
So now to focus on the best trailers of the show, and the first one that I have in alphabetical order is The Dark Sorcerer, which was played during the PS4 press conference, which, like Kara, wasn't a game, but it actually reaffirmed my belief that trailers like that are still okay to give awards to. I know we gave Kara an award last year, and some people were frustrated because they're like, well, it wasn't actually for a game. I disagree slightly. I know technically it's not for a game, but in the case of David Cage and the projects that he works on, that trailer was done immediately before we got to see Beyond Two Souls. And I think this is basically him saying, this is the engine, this is the kind of tech, the stuff that I see is the stuff that you're going to see in my next game will look a lot like this, maybe not in theme, but just the technology. So it is getting you excited for a game. It is prepping this next game. So when you find out that there's going to be some announcement of David Cage's next game, you have this early video to kind of gauge what that cage, if you will, what that game's going to look like. And so I think it can be tied in, and you can, give it props. So I really liked that. I thought it was very funny. It was a nice way to break up the kind of, nervous tension of the press conference. So I was a fan.
flashball! Shit! I can never get that last one right.
Run, boy, run. This world is not meant for you. Run, boy, run. They're trying to catch you.
Dying Light was a very cool trailer and an interesting contrast to what we had seen before in the Dead Island trailer. A lot of people complained that the Dead Island trailer wasn't like what ended up being what the final game was like, and then I've heard a lot of bad comments about the Dying Light trailer, which is interesting because they kind of took it's still an emotional trailer, but we follow a very generic looking guy, and I think what you see in the video is way more indicative of what the actual game will be like than what Dead Island was. And so I think that was very smart for Techland to focus more on showing a trailer that shows you what the game's going to be like. Very brutal ending, kind of surprise ending. So that was, even though we got that a little bit early, that premiered in our GTTV episode last Thursday. That was a very cool trailer.
You'll be mine, boy. But for now it's time to run.
Final Fantasy 15 trailer announcement, whether you're excited about Final Fantasy or not, was pretty nuts. I remember the group that I was with down at our All Access live shoot. I think that got a lot of oohs and ahs out of people that weren't necessarily fans of games at all. They just, huge fish monster jumping and tearing things up, and giant, golems and buildings smashing into each other. And it was a very crazy trailer. It was very exciting. The music was great. It was fun to see that game come back. Obviously, the reveal of it being 15 at the end is the kind of stuff that you want out of E3 trailers. So I thought that was very exciting, and that was a very exciting moment in the press conference.
知りたいのかまあ重いぞ
Killer is Dead. This is one that might have slipped through the cracks. I thought this was very exciting. This is, of course, in the vein of Killer 7 and No More Heroes, and it's just a really bonkers trailer. I love the text. Normally text doesn't really work, but if you watch the trailer, you can get a more specific idea of what I mean of when they would introduce a character and then say that character was dead. I thought that was a really interesting way to use text and a way to make the trailer really stand out. Very bonkers trailer. Definitely check it out.
Say, do you think this game is ethical?
That's none of my business.
Mad Max, which I would love to give a higher score, except the trailer didn't really do much other than reveal the game and kill somebody in a very horrible way. It would have been nice to get a little bit more from it, maybe a wide open shot of seeing kind of like the vista as the car drives off in the distance to suggest like this is a much bigger game than initially what you're looking at. But one of those trailers that kind of had everybody teased. Some people thought it was Rage 2, some people thought it was Fallout 4. But if you're a fan of Mad Max or Road Warrior, I think you knew the second you walked out. You're like, wait, I know that car. Wait, I know those shoulder pads. And I thought that was a very fun way, again, to reveal a game. Way better than somebody coming out and just saying, oh, we're going to do Mad Max. Yay. It's like the trailers are the absolute best way that you can announce a game, and that was a very smart way to do it.
Let the legend come back to life.
Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. No, we are not being paid off by Kojima. I know it seems that every single time a Metal Gear trailer comes around, we freak out here at GameTrailers, but this trailer's insane. I mean, there's so many different things to love about it, so many different things that are really weird. We focus on a woman's intestines for like a full minute. I mean, it's just a very bizarre trailer. More than anything, I am so proud of you, Kojima, for actually speeding up footage. The whole scene where it goes through all of the different facets of the game in one long continuous mission walkthrough, and it fast forwards all of the things that you don't need to see, was Kojima growing up. I'm really proud of him for realizing that you can reveal information in a trailer and not necessarily take 20 minutes. So even though I think it's like 7 or 8 or 9 minutes long, it still could have been much, much, much longer compared to some of the trailers he's revealed in the past. So nice to kind of accordion that trailer a little bit, go only to the good bits, and very, very fun to watch.
He mentioned something interesting. Cypher is pursuing new research. He claims that what they're doing in Africa is the missing piece. A weapon to surpass Metal Gear.
It is a new world for us. For all of us. An age of scientific marvels.
The Order 1866. Very cool trailer, a lot like the Mirror's Edge trailer and Mad Max trailer. I was hoping to get a little bit more out of it. There were a lot of trailers, kind of like Kingdom Hearts, which I'll talk about in a little bit, where you had the obligatory enemy, the AT-AT crushing down, like, oh no, something's jumping at the screen at the end. But I thought it was very interesting that it was in game. I love the fact that they said the whole trailer consists of actual gameplay in the beginning, so we could establish that. Really cool aesthetic, really cool weapons. Personally, I'm very, very excited about that game, but it would be nice to get a little bit more story out, something at the end that would establish it's not just another, third-person shooter, but with a really cool aesthetic. But that aesthetic was very, very cool. Plants vs. Zombies. I have to say, when I definitely got fooled when this trailer first came up, and I'm a huge Plants vs. Zombies fan, so I'm kind of pissed at myself that I didn't spot that this was a deception early on. But when I'm watching the press conferences during the show, I'm kind of frantically writing down what they are so we can bring them back up in our live show. And I wrote down Battlefield. I was like, oh, well, that's clearly Battlefield 4. And I had to cross it out and write Plants vs. Zombies. And especially because that was the EA press conference, so what a weird game for them to start out with. And I know that can be kind of underwhelming, like why would a big company like EA start with Plants vs. Zombies? But having a surprise like that, much like the Dark Sorcerer, much like Mad Max, where you're not expecting something and something really fun and exciting happens, that's one of the best parts of E3. And I really enjoyed that. I got a big kick out of that. Probably because I was really stressed at the time, but I enjoyed it.
That is crazy. Plants vs. Zombies is crazy.
My friends, each of you are guilty of crimes against the Sin Empire.
Saints Row 4. This trailer came out actually before E3, but you do yourself a favor to go see it. This was really great. A really great emotional trailer, kind of play on the whole concept of making E3 trailers really big and epic. Obviously, it's a very silly game, but you know, the president was running around naked, you know, with his junk, you know, grayed out, and they, you know, played up like the trailer was very emotional, and this was the most dramatic Saints Row game ever made, and very, very funny, very tongue-in-cheek. Good, again, just like Plants vs. Zombies, another fun thing to see during E3 because everything else is so damn serious. So it's nice to kind of break up the monotony of the trailers a little bit, and that one's very funny. Check it out. Star Wars Battlefront, which we've already talked about. Also a huge Star Wars fan. Very short, so it's tough to really rank it up super high. I think it was one of those things like Kingdom Hearts where the announcement was a little more exciting than the actual trailer, but considering how long that development team has had to work on that game, it's admirable that they were able to put even that together to show us what that game looked like. And if you go back and you watch in the press conference, people just went, you know, nuts when that first came out, much more than Killer Instinct. And that was a very exciting announcement. I'm probably super biased because I'm a Star Wars fan, but I'm going to knock it down just a peg or two because it was super short. Super Smash Brothers. Again, I know we, you know, give these trailers kudos a lot, just like Metal Gear, but they're just so much fun, and it's they're clearly tailored just for E3. Like, you're not seeing a lot of assets, just like I was talking about earlier with other demos and stuff. It's like all this footage is exclusive to this trailer, and they're just. It seems like they're having so much fun revealing this information. Maybe a little too much fun when they revealed that the Wii Fit trainer was going to be a character. Who cares about that? But revealing Mega Man, the beginning with the Animal Crossing kid, it just puts a smile on my face, and it cracks me up. So I love when they put together trailers every time we get a new Smash Brothers, and they put together a good one again this year.
Honor and death go together like hot sauce in my balls.
And finally on the good list, another one that might have slipped through the cracks, a special nod goes to Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z, which had not only one but two really funny trailers. There's the Ninja Fight trailer, and then we also had a trailer, live action trailer the week before. Both of them have a lot of fun potty mouth humor and just, again, really irreverent take on the seriousness of E3 and trailers and the seriousness of using a live action character and in your media. So very funny, very good attitude. Thank you, Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z, for kind of lightening up E3 a little bit.
I should have killed you 15 ninjas ago, Hayabusa.
So now let's get on to the worst trailers of the show.
Come on, Holmes, keep up! Move it, recruit! It's not a fucking Sunday stroll!
My first worst trailer is Beyond Two Souls. They did something really weird where they just kind of showed one tiny little slice of the story. They introduce Willem Dafoe, and we see that he's the scientist, and he introduces Ellen Page to this guy that she's inevitably going to start dating or have some kind of confusing emotional relationship with. And then they go to the desert, and she goes on some mission, and it just kind of ends. And it's like, well, that was that little slice of the game, and that's terrible. Never do that. That's a really boring, unexciting, especially for E3, to be like, well, when we go to E3, we're literally just going to bring this one tiny little thing, kind of like you got a weird demo of like level 6 out of 40, and it didn't mean anything to you because you didn't, know what happened before or after this. So I would have liked to see a little more variety like we have in the previous Beyond Two Souls trailers. We see her as a little girl and older, so we can kind of see, the breadth of the game instead of just focusing on one specific story part. So a little weak.
Watch yourself out there, Jody. I don't want anything to happen to you.
Swimming in your world, something spiritual.
Fantasia Music Evolved, undoubtedly the worst trailer from E3 2013. One of the worst trailers I think I have ever seen, and solely responsible for nobody being excited about this game. I'm sure that game is actually probably going to be kind of fun. It's going to be one of the more approachable party games for Kinect But wow, what a terrible trailer. They only used one song. They kind of showed that there were going to be other songs in the game, but they didn't use them, which is really weird for a music game. If you look at the Just Dance trailer, which I'm not saying is like amazing by any means, but they had a bunch of different tracks, and it was just a little more exciting. Who knew what the hell this game was going to be from this trailer? I mean, it's all like sparkles and people dancing and being, in front of like a green screen, so they're floating around on the Milky Way. Like, I hate trailers that do this for Kinect, that do this for any kind of technology, where they're like, I'm going to show you the best possible way that this can go, even though it will never be like this. And especially for a game that people have never seen before, to kind of show this amorphous, like, oh, people are dancing and doing taekwondo and sparks are coming out of their hands, like how that translates to gameplay, especially when it's tied to something like Fantasia that I already have a strong mental picture. And between, Mickey up on a pile of rocks, making waves crash up and down, and some weird dude with a cap, who looks like he has to crap his pants, like doing sparkles and stuff like that, I'll take Mickey. It just is more connected to Fantasia in my mind, and the Fantasia you don't really get so much in that trailer. So that trailer was a big F fail.
Eorzea, a blighted realm, riddled with false gods.
Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, was a fun gameplay trailer, but gets a big thumbs down for just showing the Final Fantasy XIV logo at the end. It didn't say Realm Reborn, and they had a big montage at the beginning where they were like, oh, the story of Final Fantasy, and they showed all the games. And I'm sorry, Square Enix, but A Realm Reborn is a fix to a game that you failed, so you can't approach an E3 trailer like, oh, here's this new game. This is introducing Final Fantasy XIV. You already introduced Final Fantasy XIV and then screwed it up, and now you're doing it again. So it's very weird to play on nostalgia when it's obvious that you're just covering your tracks and making up for a mistake that you made. So stop doing that with your media, because that's weird.
The end of your tale is but the beginning of another. The tale of the crystal's demise.
Coming to your home in 2013, only on Xbox One!
Killer Instinct had a terrible reveal. It was a very exciting announcement, but the trailer was terrible. They showed the logo at the very beginning. There was no build up to it, so it was just kind of like, oh yeah, Killer Instinct, and then we'll show some gameplay. Again, very exciting that game is coming back, very exciting that Rare is working on it, but the trailer itself, to just jump into the logo and not have kind of like Battlefront did, where you were able to kind of realize what the game was before the logo hit, that's much more exciting, much better way to do it. So Killer Instinct points down for showing the logo so soon.
Whoever thought it was a good idea that I play against a producer is gonna get it.
Kingdom Hearts 3 unfortunately suffered from the same thing that Final Fantasy XIV did, where they had the montage at the beginning where they showed all the previous Kingdom Hearts games. We know that there's been Kingdom Hearts games. It's not like this is a game that we've forgotten about, where you see this montage like, oh yeah, I remember Kingdom Hearts, where did that series go? It's like people have been screaming about this game forever. So you just get right into the gameplay, get right into the announcement. Also, don't spoil it right away, because you're not going to have any anticipation when you literally cut to like the first Kingdom Hearts game, and it's like, okay, it's Kingdom Hearts 3. So that kind of soiled the announcement before you made the actual official announcement. So there are better ways to do that. Don't do montages when people are expecting the game anyway.
Most notorious villains in history join forces to take over the universe.
So glad you decided to play!
And finally on the worst list, there are a lot of really bad trailers from the show, but I saw the trailer for Young Justice Legacy. That is a perfect example. That this trailer kind of represents every other bad trailer that I can mention, where it's like really uninspired gameplay, crappy voiceover, really generic build-up. Like Infinite Crisis had a similar trailer where it's like the gameplay, I can't even tell what's going on because there's just explosions of fireworks all over the place. And all it takes is just like a good sound design and some music ramping up to make really anything look exciting. It was really frustrating because this is a DC game and a damn fine show if you haven't seen Young Justice. And so if you're going to E3, they should have made some animated trailer that was taken right out of the show. And then, maybe you can reveal later that, like, yeah, it's just a little silly game. It's just there's only 12 characters, and it's kind of like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but not as fun. It being a really good animated show, you really dropped the ball on having a really cool animated trailer, which if you have a game that's tied to an animated show, probably a good idea if you're going to go to a big show like E3 to really, have a good presence and make yourself look good. So if you want to see the absolute worst of trailers other than Fantasia, check out the trailer for Young Justice Legacy.
Young Justice Legacy, the video game, saving the universe this summer.
So that's it for all the best and worst and medium trailers from E3 2013. Thank you so much for watching all of our continued coverage. I hope you had a wonderful show. I'll be back next week with the normal episode of Trailer Academy, and as always, you can follow me on Twitter at GameTrailersVO. See you next time.